Last night was the start for the AGT live shows for season 20, and boy oh boy, was it an absolutely jam packed episode. We had 11 acts all competing for 3 spots in the semi finals, and we had the first golden buzzer for the live shows this season given to Sofia Vergara. Well, she was in charge of the golden buzzer, and it was given to an act who I really feel like I underestimated throughout the competition, but nonetheless was very deserving overall. And we'll be finding out which 3 acts will be making the first 3 spots in the semi finals. We've got a lot to talk about in this week's recap and review of America's Got Talent Season 20, so let's get straight into the video. So yes, as you guys know by now, this week was finally the start for the live shows of America's Got Talent this season, and it's so good to be doing this again. We're now at the lives. It's honestly, it's so great to be doing and talking about the live shows now. And overall, it was a really great episode. We had some great acts. Some acts really did step up the game, and some kind of went down and didn't do their best, which we'll go into a little bit later on in the review. But still, I really enjoyed it, and of course, Sophia was in charge for the Golden Buzzer this week, which makes sense because Mel, Howie, and Simon had golden buzzers on this episode. So to have Sophia have it on this week was very fair enough. And we're going to do this a little bit differently because normally, as you guys might know, that Tuesday is when they do the actual performances, and then Wednesday, the next day is when they do the results. Well, I'm actually recording this on the Friday. It was supposed to be yesterday. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically go through each act and basically and talk about them, and I'll basically include talk about them going through as well, just to make it make. I hope that makes sense because I was thinking about doing it the recap on the Wednesday and have the results on the Thursday, but I didn't think I'd have much time, so I was like, let's just cram it all in together and just talk about each act and when they whether they made it through or not. So I think that's the best way to do it for this year's live shows, and I'll probably do that for the remaining of the competition. So, anyways, I think we should get straight into the review, starting off with the first act of the night, and also the first act to make it through to the semi-finals, with that being Simon's Golden Buzzer for Light Wire. And honestly, I was so excited to see them back on AGT for the live shows this season, as they absolutely blew me away in the auditions, with their routine to the Amazon rainforest. It was absolutely mesmerizing. And for them to kick off the show like this was absolutely fantastic. So we got to talk. Let's quickly go over their performance in the audition. So they basically did their routine to the about the Amazon rainforest. Which was absolutely mesmerizing to watch, which secured them the golden buzzer for from Simon. I'd say probably one of Simon's best golden buzzers I've seen on AGT. They really were absolutely fantastic, and we got to talk about their quarterfinals performance because it really was just out of this world. So their performance included them doing a light up dance routine because they got dancers in there and used technology. So they basically kind of did like a very similar thing to their audition, to like the jungle, but they added elements of wildlife, more. This Everything was just incredible, and they also included live music as they had some drummers there. Um, Getting involved in the whole routine, which I thought was such a clever detail to the whole routine. And it kind of reminded me of when the Blackouts did that in their live show performances on BGT earlier this year, where they had the drumming in the portion in their routine. And that's kind of reminded me of that a little bit. And honestly, I mean, this is how you kick off the show with a bang, because this was just off the scale to how good this was. So Mel mentioned that she was quite angry that she didn't have the golden buzzer, as she would have clearly given it to them, and she mentioned it was outstanding. Sophia mentioned it was something special and mesmerizing. Howie also mentioned, which I totally agree with what he said here, that it is the something what somebody would be buying tickets to see in Vegas. And Simon mentioned it's one of the best live performances he's ever seen. And he mentioned about this being an opening act for the Olympics opening ceremony, and just I completely agree with what all the judges were saying here. Like, I mean, I mentioned before that I was so excited to see these guys perform again, and they did not disappoint in the slightest. I was once again left absolutely mesmerized, and just honestly, just again, I've mentioned this before, but the whole routine is not only sensational, but the storytelling they include in the whole act is absolutely. It takes it to a whole new level, and the way they include the dancing with the technology, it's just out of this world. And I'm so, and coming from someone who absolutely loves seeing these other acts on the show because they're so different, so unique. They have really set the bar high for AGT this season now. Like, I would not be surprised if they actually ended up winning the whole thing, because like, this is just a world class act without a question. This is an act I would totally see in Vegas. It's absolutely phenomenal. Everything about the whole performance was exceptional, and honestly, I would have been shocked if they didn't go through, and they were the first act to make it through as well, which is just, honestly, I'm so happy they are. And honestly, they could potentially win the whole thing. I know that might, because I know, I'm rooting for Jessica Sanchez to win. I'm rooting for her to win. But honestly, I keep saying honestly, but to be honest, I would not be disappointed if they ended up winning the show this year. And it would be so great to see an act like this take home the trophy and headline in Vegas. It really would be great. And this was just such a phenomenal start to the show, and I'm so glad that they made it through. And I honestly, with the live show, with the apparent live semi-final golden buzzer, I actually could see them getting it. I don't know, but it all depends on who else we got in the semi-finals. But as of right now, I could potentially see them getting that golden buzzer for the semi-finals, and apparently it's a group one as well. So fingers crossed for that, and I'm hoping that they get it. But once again, they absolutely blew me away, and I'm so happy that they are in the semi-finals. Next up, we have one of three golden buzzers on to talk about here, with the first one being Mel B. Actually, no, the second golden buzzer now. Actually, I sorry about that. So, anyways, so the next act we had was Charity Lockhart, Mel B's Golden Buzzer, who in the auditions performed "Golden Slumbers" by the Beatles. I believe the Jennifer Hudson version. I think she sang in the auditions, which secured her Mel B's Golden Buzzer, a deserved Golden Buzzer as well. I absolutely loved her performance in the auditions, and I was very excited to see what she had up her sleeve this time around. And the song choice she did really surprised me here. So she performed "Can't Help Falling in Love" by Elvis Presley. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Elvis, and this song I was not expecting her to sing, because after her performance of the Jennifer Hudson version of the Beatles, I was kind of in. I was kind of thinking to myself, maybe she could do like an Aretha Franklin, Etta James, is that her name? Like some of the Aretha Franklin, the Supremes, those type of soulful ballads, Patsy Cline maybe. But no, she chose a very interesting song choice of Elvis Presley, which honestly I really liked. I really liked this performance of here. So Mel mentioned that she felt everything that she was feeling, and she also mentioned it felt like she was into the song for the first time and made her fall in love over again. And Simon mentioned that she looked like a completely different person, and she has the kind of singer that deserves to be on Broadway, the West End, and she has a beautiful voice, which you could tell the transformation of this performance compared to audition, because you could tell in the audition she was incredibly nervous, and I could tell that as well. But I felt like this time around, you could tell her confidence was growing throughout the performance as it was kind of building up, and that's something I love seeing in contestants, where their confidence can really, really build up. But Howie was a bit critical here. He mentioned that he saw glimpses, but didn't see the whole thing, and he also mentioned that it didn't blow him away as much as it wanted to. And then Sophia mentioned that the rendition of the song was perfect, and she made it her own. Now, I will say here, I can't. Don't know what that was. Therefore, I heard something. So as I was saying about I can understand where Harry's coming from, maybe because the song choice, maybe some glimpses, but then maybe not the full thing. I personally thought the song choice was a big surprise, and I feel that song is very kind of like, I don't know. It's a song I wouldn't have expected from her, of her kind of genre, what she does. But I thought she performed it really well, and she made it her own. And I love hearing singers take a song similar to like what Chuck Adams did in the auditions, where he took a song which was the Goo Goo Dolls and he made it his own. And just, I thought it was a really just great performance. I thought, and just listening to the performance, I felt like I was listening to an actual record. Like, her voice is just so beautiful, and while I had a feeling she wasn't going to go through at all, I was still happy with this performance. I thought she really delivered it, and what, like I mentioned, while it was a bit upsetting that she didn't go through, I had a feeling she wouldn't be going through to the top five. But still, I still thought she absolutely nailed this performance, and it was just absolutely beautiful to watch. So amazing job, Charity, and I thought you really performed this song fantastically. Next up, we have the Phobias, the horror magic trio, who are basically the clowns dressing up as basically doing horror magic in a way. So I'm going to get my stuff, get everything together here. So, as you know, they mention. So, if you don't remember the Phobias, they were the horror magic trio where they had the judges with balloons, and they had like, they did like, I can't exactly remember what they did already, but like they included like a bit of like magic, like the handkerchiefs. They had all kinds of stuff going on. A very, very interesting act as well. Which normally I'm not a fan of these acts per se, but I thought the act in the auditions was very, very good overall. So let's talk about their semi-final performance. So I'm just gonna watch this the video back while talking about it because I'm currently looking on the wiki and it doesn't give too much detail. So basically the performance included having the female clown that was among them uh, kind of transformed into a doll, I think, and then they asked Sophia to mix up a Rubik's cube, and then what they did was they transferred it into a actual kind of a bunch of worms, which was really clever how they did that. I would not have seen that coming. And then they had the doll come back out, and then they brought this table with one of them. I think one of the members looking like to be headless, which was very freaky, and had them on the trolley, and with rulers. I think that was a ruler, and then the performance ended with Mel B buzzing and one of them even surprised Simon, and they scared him. I think he pressed the buzzer as well, so that was pretty fun to watch there. So I am again. Normally, I'm not a fan of these acts, but let's go on to the comments. What the judges said. So Simon mentioned that he wasn't happy that he got worms in front of him. Sophia mentioned that she wanted to hate it, but she liked it at the same time. And they make magic into a very unique experience. However, he said he was very impressed of the blending between clowns and magic and terror, and he thought it was worthy. But Mel B was a bit critical here, saying that she didn't like it, but she felt it wasn't slick enough, it didn't move fast enough, which I think I can agree where she's coming from because I think the audition had more, well, not energy, but it had more of an impact in terms of like how they did the routine. This time it felt a bit slower, a bit. There wasn't that much of a build up here, and again, like I mentioned, I think these guys are very, very talented, and I think the routine itself was very good, but on again, not I'm not a fan of these type of actors per se, but just again, I just this kind of left me wanting more, but there wasn't something there that I was like, okay, I want this to keep going. It just kind of ended, and I was like, oh, that felt a bit short, but it was pretty funny to see them scare Simon at the end because they scared Howie in the audition. So to see Simon get some payback was pretty cool to see there. So again, I think I like the whole idea of having this sort of horror magic with clowns and doing the whole routine. I think that's a great concept, but it just didn't deliver to the level I was hoping for, like they did in the audition. Because the audition I thought was really exciting, really kind of left me wanting more. But this I kind of got bored watching the performance back, if I'm honest with you. So that's just my thoughts here, and that's just how I feel. And there was no way they were going through, and they didn't go through, which made a lot of sense. So why? So yeah, I got to give credit to them to doing what they did, but it sadly was not enough for me. Next up, we had was City Limits, the vocal trio of the brothers and cousin, I believe. Yeah, they are, and they are from where are they from? They're from Tennessee, and in the audition they performed Casey and JoJo's "All My Life," which was amazing. I loved the voices they did, the harmonies they blended together. It was really, really good, and I was honestly so excited to see what they were going to perform because I was hoping for them to do another song like that, but no, they actually changed it up a little bit. So they did Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River, which I have not heard that song in quite a while. And I am a little bit in agreement of what the judges are saying here. So Howie mentioned that they are lovable, marketable, great voices, but he didn't feel they stepped it up. But Simon also agreed as well. He felt like that it didn't feel like it was coming from them. And Mel mentioned he thought that she thought the harmonies were on point, and Sophia mentioned that they got a lot more to give. We also felt like the audition was better, which I honestly can agree with the judges here because their audition was just great. I love that genre of music, kind of like the Boys to Men, kind of Casey and JoJo. That song they did there in the audition was really good. And for me, this time around, while vocally they were really good, the harmonies were great here. I enjoyed it, but it felt like just I just didn't like the song. I didn't feel the song fitted their voices and the genre. Like if they did something like I don't know, Boys to Men song, like End of the Road, kind of that type of song, I think that would have suited their voices better compared to this performance of Justin Timberlake. But I do think they've got great voices, and so I knew they weren't going through. I mean, I would have loved to see them step it up a bit, but that when they could have maybe made this way into the top five, but unfortunately, this performance did not suit their. This song did not suit their voices at all, and I am gutted for them because I really loved their audition, but this was sadly not to be, unfortunately. So that's. I still thought it was a good performance overall, but I felt like it was just not at the same level as the audition. So the next up we had was Psycho and Maria, the trapeze duo, who in the auditions performed lose their routine to lose control by Teddy Swims, and so I actually was thinking about this earlier because I actually going into the episode I was actually thinking to myself maybe Sophia could give them the golden buzzer. Because I know in the auditions, she mentioned that she wanted to give them a golden buzzer, but she had none left. So I was like, so they're on Sophia's golden buzzer episode. Could they get that golden buzzer? But they did. Now, unfortunately, they didn't get the golden buzzer, but it was still their performance was still absolutely mind blowing to watch. So their performance had them doing a routine to Alex Warren's "Ordinary," which I think it's a song I've heard quite a few times on the radio. I think it's a song I've heard before, but I can't remember who actually sings it. And these guys absolutely blew me away, just like they did in the audition. Like I think that there was definitely some elements like to the auditions. Like in the audition, they did some similar moves, which honestly I didn't really pay attention to that, but it was absolutely remarkable. I could not take my eyes watching the performance. So Howie mentioned that it's a combination of danger, dedication, and dance all in one. Sophia mentioned that it was amazing, scary, and they made it unique once again. Mel mentioned that it was brilliant, and the technique, vibe, and commitment was on fire. And Simon mentioned that it was a step up and incredible, and and I completely agree with the judges. And honestly, I am not surprised at all that they got through to the semi-finals because this was an absolutely they absolutely stepped it up a million times from the auditions. It was just it. Honestly, I could not. On in a way, I couldn't look at this performance. I was just that. Look, they literally risk their lives doing what they do with this routine, and it left me on the edge of my seat watching their performance and just what they're capable of doing, of the acrobatics and the trust they have for each other, is nothing short of just incredible. So honestly, I am not mad in the slightest they made it through because I know going to the result it was between them and a few other acts that made the top five. I was kind of really on edge who'd go through, but these guys going through, I had no complaints. They were and so great to see. I would love to see an area act like this make it to the finals. Hopefully, I mean, of course, it will depend on who they'll be up against, but it was absolutely remarkable to watch. I literally could watch this performance about 20 times over, and I would not be bored. It's just the dedication they have for this act is incredible. Just seeing how much effort and hard work they put into the act is nothing short of just remarkable. Honestly, I've got nothing else to say here. I just thought they were absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait to see what they bring for us in the semi-finals. As I just know it's going to be absolutely incredible. So we now go on to the next act of the night, which was Sofia's Golden Buzzer, given to country singer Steve Ray Ladson, who honestly I have really underestimated throughout the competition, but not after this performance. So let's talk about him now. So in the audition, he performed his song called "On the Back of My Truck." He had the band behind him, and it was a really, really great audition. I absolutely loved it. I loved the audition. I loved the song he did. And honestly, going into the show this week, kind of looking at the lineup who was up against, I honestly kind of had him under the radar, and I didn't really know how well he would do. But let me tell you, my opinion completely changed after this performance because he absolutely blew the house down with this performance. So he did performed his original song called "Boots Like Mine." He had the band behind him again, and oh my goodness, he absolutely nailed this performance. I just, he really rose to the occasion and delivered on the night which it mattered. And of course, that got him Sofia's Golden Buzzer. That she mentioned that he was a superstar and she loved it. And after that, he pressed the Golden Buzzer for him, which honestly, I have no complaints that he got it because country has done so well over the years, and just watching this performance, I was just really impressed with everything about the whole song. I love the song, and I honestly feel I've underestimated him since his audition, and just he really took it up a notch for this time around. The song was fantastic, the band was once again fantastic. Not only that, but his showmanship and his swagger, it's just world class. And also his voice is just overall really, really good. So I am not mad at all that he got the golden buzzer. Honestly, he was an act this season I really feel I've underestimated throughout the competition, and I'm so glad that he proved me that like, honestly, I have not stopped watching his performance back since he did it on Tuesday, and it was just absolutely fantastic. His voice is fantastic. The band was fantastic. Everything about the whole performance was nothing short of brilliant. I'm so happy he got the golden buzzer, and I'm also really excited to see what he brings to us in the final. Because it means now he's got the golden buzzer, he goes straight to the final, which I am not complaining once again. Honestly, I would love to see. Honestly, I'm so happy for him. I really am excited to see what he brings to us in the final, because I think if he does another brilliant song, he might give himself a shot at taking the trophy. So I can't wait to see what he does next, and honestly, a very well deserved golden buzzer. Now we go on to the next act of the night, which was Locot Familia, the Japanese dance group who were in the cat costumes, who Mel B found to be pretty annoying. And to be honest with you, I feel like I'm very mixed on this act per se. So in the auditions, they did the dance routine in the cat costumes, which they did this time around, and I, like I mentioned, I think they're a solid dance group, but the concept is a bit out there for me. So let me hang on, just give me a second to get my stuff prepared here for the next one. Okay, here we go. So their performance in the quarterfinals had them doing a dance routine, and they were wearing tutus as well, kind of switching up the costumes a little bit there to "Hey Mickey" by an act what's it, by Tony Basil. Yeah, that's the song. But it was like I think a cover of that song, I believe. So, which was very interesting. And and they actually won Mel B over this time around, which was quite a surprise because I thought she would actually buzz the act. So Harry mentioned that, or I don't know what Harry mentioned here, but Sophia mentioned it was fun to watch. Simon mentioned that that they're fun and that is doing well in the show is about. And Mel mentioned that the choreography was great, and while still being annoying, she got to give up to them, and it looks like she actually won. They actually won her over, which was a very pleasant surprise to see. Like, okay, this is how I feel about them because I've mentioned this before. I think they are a solid group, and I feel the whole costumes, them wearing the cat costumes, is a bit much for me because I think if you take away the cat element to it, I just think it's a solid dance group overall. But I actually thought they stepped up their game from the auditions. Actually, they had the tutus. The choreography was actually fun to watch. And, I loved the way they interacted with the judges. That was actually really cool as well. I really liked to see Mel B finally actually like them was pretty refreshing to see. Now, I will say this in the result show, I found it a bit unfair that they partnered them up with them and City Limits, only for Terry to say that neither of them would be in the top five of the night, which I kind of felt was a bit harsh. And Simon said that was it was quite mean of him to do that, which honestly they've not done that since a good few seasons, I think. So so I kind of felt like that was a bit unfair for them to do that because I knew neither of them were going through. So I was kind of like, it's a toss of the coin between who I think should go through because they weren't my favourites. But when they said none of them would go through, I was like, oh, okay. That's all they did that for. But again, overall, the performance was a step up from the auditions. I enjoyed it. While I didn't think they would be going through. I still thought they did a really good job overall. Next up, we have Shoula King, the only stand-up comedian, surprisingly, in the live shows. I do feel like there was a few stand-up comedians this season I think deserve to make it through as well, like Sandra Rizza, Dwayne Jackson. So the fact he's the only stand-up comedian in the live shows is a bit. I don't know how to feel about that, to be honest, because So, anyways, so he is the funeral director. He's the stand-up comedian from South Carolina, a funeral director. And his audition was really funny as well. Him kind of talking about his job, about dealing with people, and him being involved with the stretcher and like getting grabbed on the leg. All very funny stuff. So his performance here included him doing a routine, talking about his father, bringing him up into the funeral business, kind of him, doing this kind of thing where he doing this like job when he was apparently 12 years old and walking up in the back of a hearse with a woman inside there and kind of the storytelling was really funny. And again, everything about the whole performance was just really, really funny. And he once again really made me laugh watching the performance. So Harry mentioned that he loves the guy, he's authentic, amazing, and he tells a great story, which he really does. Simon mentioned that he's listened to a guy telling stories about people and that we're all laughing. Sofia mentioned that he liked his audition, but she thought he was better, and also mentioned that he should be in his own movie or sitcom, which I totally agree with. Actually, he would be great in his own like movie sitcom. And Mel mentioned that he was funny before he opened his mouth, and she was hoping America would vote for him, which they did. And honestly, I am a little bit surprised that he actually got eliminated in the top five because with him being the only stand-up comedian, this season in the live shows, I kind of thought to myself, well, surely they're going to have a stand-up comic get to the semi-finals at least, but no. He got eliminated in the top five, which was very surprising to me. The competition in the top five was very competitive, so I couldn't really call who would be going through, and whoever would be going home, I would have been gutted either way. But honestly, I am a bit gutted that he did go home because I really felt like he had a shot of going through all the way to potentially the top five of the season. But regardless, back to the performance, I thought he really stepped up his game from the auditions. It was really funny. And I loved the way he added kind of like a bit of physical comedy into it, which was quite exciting to see. I loved the storytelling, the voices he did. It was just an all-around great act, great routine, great storytelling, just everything I loved about this performance. So, again, I am gutted that he didn't go through to the semi-finals because, this would have been the perfect time to have a comedian potentially get to the top five and win, because we've not had a comedian win AGT yet, which is so disappointing. Like, we need to have a comedian at some point win the show, and I'm just hoping that happens one day, so hopefully next season we actually get a comedian win, but unfortunately Shoula went home this week, which I was a bit gutted about, but still he went out with a bang with this performance. I still absolutely loved the performance he did, and I'm really happy that he competed on the show. I thought he was really just fantastic. So let's move on to the final golden buzzer of the episode, which was Jordan Blue, who we all remember from his audition in the premiere where he did break even by the script. I love that song, and he absolutely blew me away with his vocals. The song he did was incredible. The soul he had, the grittiness he had was amazing, and currently one of the most viewed auditions of this season with about 6.5 million views, I believe, last time I checked. And he just, you know, I think going into this, he was definitely the favourite to go this week, and I still think he is. There was no. I would have been amazed if he didn't go through, which he did indeed. So let's talk about his performance. So before we actually get into his performance, it was actually revealed that he was actually feeling under the weather and had food poisoning prior to his quarterfinal performance, but he still went out there to perform it live instead of rather than having shown his dress rehearsal, which I think was a great move for Jordan because he absolutely he once again left me speechless with this performance. So he sang Callum Scott's Biblical, which is a song I've not heard in such a long time. The last time I heard that song on the radio was about a few months ago, I think. But nonetheless, he absolutely nailed this performance. It was so good. His vocals were so good. So let's go to the comments now. Simon mentioned the fact he had the guts, the strength to come out and sing despite him being ill. He did bloody well. Howie mentioned that he truly thinks that he could win this season. The performance was just amazing considering how sick he was. Mel mentioned that the vocals were perfectly beautiful, and Sophia mentioned that he is good, sick or not sick. Everything about him screams being a rock star. I totally agree with what all the judges are saying. And after his audition, I even said to myself that we were looking at a star. Like, he has just got everything what a star is, and that is the look, the sound, the vocals, everything screams star quality. And this guy once again absolutely blew me away with this performance. I was left so impressed. His vocals were just again, the song choice was so good. And despite being under the weather, where at points I could tell his vocals were a little bit shaky at times, nonetheless, it was still absolutely faultless to say the least. He absolutely crushed his performance, and I'm so happy that he made it through because I honestly think he has got a shot of going all the way as well. Like, I would be like, for me so far, the locks for the finals this year are him, Lightwire, and Jessica Sanchez are the ones I am very confident on, who I think will be in the top five. Um, so so yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. The Axe one also to get to the top five, which I'll mention a bit later on in the season. Hopefully, the Axe I get, but once again, Jordan absolutely nailed this performance. It was so good, and just again, if he hadn't gone through, I would have been extremely disappointed because he absolutely crushed this performance. Now, the second to last act of the night we're going to talk about is not only my favorite dance group of the season, but also the act that we unfortunately did lose out, did not make the semi-finals, and that was the incredible Be Unique crew from India with the connections to Unreal Crew, who are on next week's episode, for everyone's wondering. And honestly, while I am gutted that they didn't go through to the semi-finals, I had a feeling that they wouldn't just because of the competition they had. So let's talk about their performance now. So they did a zombie-themed dance routine incorporating contortion, to a cover of Billie Eilish's Bad Guy, where they also included them using the screens in the background, and they even added more members in. There was about 2 other members involved in the act, which was very exciting to see. And the production value, I have to say, was absolutely fantastic to watch. So this was another great performance here. So Mel mentioned that they were so good, so different, and they were on fire. Simon mentioned that he liked this because it was very original. He still thinks there's more with them. He mentioned that it was a 7 out of 10, but he knew they were capable of being a 9. Howie mentioned that his Golden Buzzer is also a dance group, which of course is Unreal Crew, but also mentioned they were even better, which is, it's a big compliment to hear from Howie. And Sophia mentioned that they stepped it up a notch, and the tricks were better, the choreography was better, and the look was better. Which I do agree with all the judges' comments here in a way. Like Simon, I could also agree. Like, I know they're capable of getting to like a 10, a 9. And unfortunately, they didn't make it through to the semi-finals, so we won't be able to see them again unless it's some sort of wild card which they could introduce. I don't know, but honestly, I absolutely love these guys. I thought that the audition was one of the best this season, and this performance overall was still really, really good. I absolutely loved it, and just again, how they're able to include the technology with the contortion in all elements into the same routine is seriously impressive, and just they have taken the dancing to a whole new level this season. I've never seen an act like them on the show, and I was just left impressed once again. And so while it is a bit unfortunate that they didn't go through to the semi-finals, I'm so happy that they got to the live shows. And honestly, in a universe, I was actually thinking, would Howie give them would be in charge of the golden buzzer, because you could tell he was desperate to press the golden buzzer for them as well this time around. But Simon kept saying, "You can't press it. You can't press it. It's not your turn." But honestly, I was actually thinking to myself, could they give Howie the golden buzzer to give them to put them through to the final? But no, they gave it to Sofia, and she gave it to Steve Ray Ladson, which I'm not against. But it's interesting because I really feel like there could have been a storyline of having both Unreal Crew and Be Unique Crew getting to the finals together and battling out. Well, and unfortunately, while that's not the case this season, it was still an amazing performance regardless. I absolutely loved it, and I hope this is not the last time we see of these guys, as they truly are an absolutely fantastic dance group, and I just can't wait to see what they do next in the future. And now we have to talk about the final act of the night, and quite possibly the worst act of the night, and I think one of the worst performances I've seen on an AGT live show, and that is Tom Sanderville and the Most Extras. Now, I'm sure we all know who Tom Sanderville is by now, but in case you don't know who he is a reality TV star, infamously known for being on Vanderpump Rules and also being involved with the cheating scandal he had revolving around one of his co-workers' girlfriends, I think. Was it something like that? Just trying to find it. Was he? Where was it? Just kind of, I can't find it. He was also on the Traitors as well, all that stuff, and just his audition included him doing "Take on Me" by Aha, which I thought was okay, and so, but this performance this time around was just not good whatsoever. So he performed "Blinding Lights" by The Weekend, and Simon buzzed the performance as well, which, to be honest with you, I do not blame him at all in the slightest that he did that, because this was just not good. This was just not a good performance whatsoever. The vocals were off key. I thought that the band were good, but his vocals were just an absolute mess. It was just messy. It was just not a good performance whatsoever. Simon mentioned that he liked Tom and the band, but it didn't sound great. Sophia mentioned the sound was not amazing, but super entertaining. So Sophia was kind of agreeing there. Mel mentioned that they made her smile, and Howie mentioned that they want to be the most fun cover band, and that's what they're looking at. So I have to agree with the judges here, especially Simon, because this was just not good at all. And also, can I just say, not only I didn't like Tom's vocals here, but I just do not like his smug ego, because he made this excuse here about him sounding bad because of the in-ears that they have for singers was not working. It fell out, and in my head I was like, "Oh, come on, Tom, don't make that excuse. Just please own up to it and just admit that it wasn't good." That was when the moment Mel Men shouted out to Tom not to make any excuses, and honestly, I don't do this often, but I have to applaud Mel for saying that. Thank you, Mel, for calling him out on his BS, because he was not good, and I think he was just trying to play the victim card here. Just honestly, I'm not happy. I was not at all pleased that he made the live show, because I thought he was just not great. I mean, okay, his performances on the Masked Singer were fine. They were okay. They were passable, but this just did not sound good whatsoever. It was just messy. It was all over the place, and just once again, I'm very glad that Mel B called him out on his BS excuses. Thank you, Mel, once again for doing that. I'm not a massive fan of Mel B, but this I can actually appreciate her doing that. So that's just yeah, so that's that, and I'm just we don't have to worry anymore because now he's now out of the competition. So there you go. That is the recap and review for the first live quarterfinals for AGT season 20. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What are your thoughts on the golden buzzer Sofia picked, and also your the results for the top three semi-finals of Jordan, Lights White, and Psycho Maria. Let me know your thoughts on them. Overall, I think that was the correct top three. I that top three was definitely a deserving acts to go through. I think Shoula King and also Beanie Crew deserved a shot to go through too, but overall it was definitely the correct choice for that. Yeah, I definitely agree with the. I think the public made the right choice there. So let's quickly go through next week's lineup for quarterfinals two. We have Alan Simonov, the Brazilian magician, Alex Zinger, the dancer. We have the guitarist Bay Melnick, the 10-year-old, Benjamin Hightower, who from the military guy who was in the stairwell. Boston Dynamics, the robot act, who I'm pretty surprised about. Sophia's Golden Buzzer, Duo Stardust, the EDT dance team, Joglissimo, one of my favourite acts of the season as well. The Leo High School Choir, Mama Duke, the rapper, and of course Howie's Golden Buzzer, the Unreal Crew. So if I had to make my early predictions, who I think will get the Golden Buzzer, honestly, I can't see anyone else but Joglissimo not getting that Golden Buzzer. I feel they were massively robbed of not getting it in the auditions. So I'm massively hoping that they get it this time around just because I think they are an absolutely incredible act once again in terms of the juggling. Just again, I just think they are superb at what they do. So I'm very much hoping they get the golden buzzer for next week. And in terms of the three acts to move on, I feel Unreal Crew now that Big Unique are out. I feel Unreal Crew are now the biggest lock to make it through now. And you mean their audition was one of the best this year in the dance category. Then I think it will be. I think Alan Simonov has got a good shot making it through, especially with how Magic's done over the years. I could totally see him stepping up from the auditions because I know Mel B said no to him, but he could use that to his advantage and really deliver on his next performance. So I think if he performs really well, I think he's got a good shot. And the third spot, I'm between two acts, but I'm leaning with Benjamin Hightower. I know that might be a hot take there, but I think because of his story and everything about him, I think that could definitely. I could definitely see the audience pushing him to be a semi-finalist. But of course, we'll find out next week. But I am feeling confident about Joglissimo getting the golden buzzer. Hopefully, Almi gets the top three acts as well that I'm hoping for. But I could see Joe Stardust making it possibly over Benjamin, but we'll find out. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. With post notification turned on, I would really appreciate that. But for now, thank you so much for watching. And of course, I will see you guys next time.